We'll get started with Torey. First question, we'll start with Zach here on the left.
Torey, in what ways does Brandon look like a different pitcher over the last several months than he did when he first came up?
I think he's been consistently getting information from his coaches, from his own sidelines, just paying attention, writing things down, and digesting that, and then going out there in every next opportunity and utilizing what he can to improve. Sometimes that required a send out. Sometimes, it was a short outing, but he's always taken whatever's happened to him right in stride, and he's gone out there and gotten better in each one of these cases. Example, feeling for the zone, his first several starts through his first call-up, came back the next time and was really aggressive with his fastball. Towards the end of that timing, he was, a little loose with the secondary stuff. We encouraged him to go down there and have a better mixture of pitches. And then the final time was to switch sides on the rubber. And each time he's gone down and gotten better, come back here, and then with each outing he's continued to get better. So I think there's a fearlessness to what he's receiving, and then there's an overall execution every single time that I feel like has been improving.
Does he seem more confident or comfortable out there now than he did those first few starts?
It's really hard to tell with him because he looks very comfortable and confident. The heartbeat looks like it's always the same. The demeanor, the mound presence always looks the same. So when I go out there for a mound visit or to take him out of a game or in between innings, it's just the same look to me. So I think there's an inward confidence that he has that he was born with. And when he is a little insecure or unsure about something, you don't know it. And we ask that a lot. We ask for that to be the case with all of our pitchers because I think good hitters smell blood and they can sense what's happening on the mound. I can't describe it. For those that have played the game, they know what I'm talking about. But I think overall, you can't tell when he's having a good or a bad day, and I think he was born with that.
Chris?
Torey, obviously you've been part of different postseasons, either leading them or being part of that coaching staff. But in what ways do you still look for guidance or advice for this particular postseason?
You talking about my personal advice? Yeah, first of all, I have a close inner circle of staff members that I rely on, have conversations with. I haven't had them yet. I think we got in late last night. I was a little tired. I'll probably have them today with that group. And then, mostly sit down with the front office and go over some of their 30,000-foot perspective. And then I'll start reaching out to some coaches that have walked this walk, and they're usually the same ones. I think I've shared with you several times as to who they are. Just people that have been in this situation before. Whether it's good or bad, it's the postseason. And you got to be consistent with who you are, what you believe in, and the tone that you're setting from my position. And then watch the players. That's the best part of the day for me.
Back left in the middle.
That's all right. What are you hoping that Brandon took away from that first experience against the Brewers in Game 1, and then for tomorrow? Is there any change in the way that you kind of handle him and how you use the bullpen?
Probably not. I'll read and react. I think I've been telling you guys that each time, and I've been fairly consistent with that statement. I took Zach off the mound at 84 pitches yesterday. We got to win baseball games, and we got to separate this time from middle of July. I think what happened in Milwaukee was maybe some sequencing. There were several fastballs in a row. He didn't get into his mixture of pitches, and that's what hurt him. But him striking out the side in the bottom of the first inning, which was a huge win for us and kept the score where it was. But I think overall he's got to have a better mixture of pitches. And I'll read and react. And if it was one time through or two time through, I don't know. I'm just going to try and make the best decision I can to make this to help this team win a baseball game.
Third row on the right side.
Torey, I know Zach was saying last night afterward, job's not finished. How difficult is or isn't it to kind of maintain that mindset, maybe especially with this day off and probably hearing from a lot of people like, oh, wow, you guys are up 2-0 on the Dodgers?
Right. I think what this team has done consistently in the postseason is maintain their competitive focus. To me, that's been our separator. We've sat on the throttle pretty hard. We know when to pull back, such as this afternoon, this morning when we got up, come to the ballpark, get into that mindset, get some work done, turn it off, come back here tomorrow, and play the best game we possibly can. I think to specifically answer your question, I've asked these guys to have the same mindset today that they had yesterday and they'll have tomorrow, and that is, how can I do my job to the best of my ability? How can I help my team win a baseball game? And nothing is more important than right now. The Dodgers are coming. We are expecting their absolute best, and we're ready for that opportunity.
Back left.
Hey, Torey. This team has been through a lot this year. They started hot in July, and then to come back and be in this moment, I guess kind of a Ted Lasso question. How did you get this team to believe?
I think they started to believe sometime in early April, mid-April. There were certain moments and certain checkpoints through that month. It was a ton of games against the Dodgers, several against the Padres, where we kind of held serve. We didn't excel, but we didn't go totally backwards. And I think we did our job. And I think at that point in time, our team started to have a certain belief that we were ready to compete. And if we stayed in that mindset, that we can win baseball games as well. And then through mid-June, towards the end of June, this group really felt like and believed every single day, no matter what the circumstances were, that we were going to win a baseball game. To be honest with you, when we went through around the All-Star break and into August, I wasn't surprised. It went longer than we had expected, but I think that tested us, and because of that, we are battle tested and we are ready for crisis of any sorts, crises of any sorts, and we are going to go out and execute no matter what the circumstances are. So belief early, I think it was crystallized in mid-June, and then we came out the other end probably mid-September, and these boys were ready to go.
Fourth row on the right.
Hey, Torey, good to see you. When someone brings up the wild card game from 6 years ago, what are some of the first things that come to mind for you?
A sold-out stadium, an energy that I don't necessarily feel here every single night, and probably, I think we played one of our finest games that day. I think our guys were ready to go. Yeah, I just remember a lot of extra base hits and a lot of excitement, and the crowd was backing us, and I'm really excited to see what type of crowd we have here tomorrow.
To your point there, is it good for you to have that type of reference point in front of you for the way this crowd could be tomorrow night, and seeing it at peak is a weird way to put it, obviously, but...
Yeah, I think so. I think this team, we just went into a very hostile territory, and it was extremely loud against us. But it'll be a little bit different. This crowd is going to be behind us, and we want to play our best baseball for them. We want to impress them. I do remember, I think Paul Goldschmidt hit a home run in the bottom of the first inning. It might have been a 2 or 3 run home run. I'm not sure what it was. That eruption was probably one of the top 2 or 3 loudest eruptions I've ever felt on the stadium floor. So hopefully we can do that a few more times tomorrow.
AJ, and then in the middle.
Torey, the moment would maybe be a little big for some rookies, but it doesn't seem to be for Corbin Carroll at all. What is it about him? Why is he so comfortable playing when the stakes are this high?
I think he has an inward confidence that he was born with. I think he feels that his preparation and the intensity of his preparation has prepared him for this moment. There is a certain degree of mental toughness that we all see from where I am every single day that maybe the common fan just assumes that he has. And then there's a focus that's fairly unmatched. So I think when he feels the doubt that everybody feels in any time of your life or in any type of industry that you're in, I think he stands on what he knows he's good at, and he doesn't come off of it. He does remind me a lot of some young players, one of which plays for the LA Dodgers, because they confronted their limitations head on. So when they stepped into the most critical point in time of the game or the season, they knew that it was no longer a limitation.
Second row on the right.
Torey, asked Corbin this earlier. are the guys having fun? I know there's a mental toughness and a mental focus you have to have, but are they having fun in the process?
I think so. I try to create a certain looseness. It's one of my core beliefs, to just be ourselves, have fun, talk about the things we want to talk about. Don't be a faker. And then it's 6:07 tomorrow. Put on your hard hat and go to work and unite as one. And they respond to that very, very well. It's impossible to maintain that game face focus for 24 hours a day. You just can't do it. So I ask them to go in and out of that, but when it's time to go in, you go all in. But they have a lot of fun. I have children as old as these players, right? And they do the same things that my children do. They listen to the same music, they play the same board games, the same card games, and have the same conversations. And I eavesdrop, and I find myself laughing and enjoying those conversations, as I do with my own children. So they're in a good spot today, but they've been in a good spot all year long. It's been very consistent.
Take two last ones. We'll go Nick and then Zach.
Back to Corbin, just with what he's been able to do, does it wow you, or are you just sort of nothing he does anymore? I mean, because it's, being on base as much as he's been, first four games, it just doesn't seem unfazed at all.
Yeah. I know you guys want me to give you this unbelievable answer, but I probably could have answered it in June, because my jaw was on the ground with what he was doing every single day. The intensity and focus that he had, the amount of home runs that he was hitting, the bases that he was stealing, the plays that he was making, I just would shake my head in the dugout, and I'm like, I don't know how he's doing it, but I've got a front row seat to it, and I'm going to enjoy this ride. And it's just been the same ever since. So maybe he has spoiled me to the level where I come to expect it, and it's more natural. But now that he's on a huge stage, right? There's 4 teams remaining in the National League, and we're one of them. I think he goes back to all that preparation. I think he is so mentally strong that he doesn't allow himself to get outside of what he wants to do. And he was nicknamed the Machine by our farm director, Josh Barfield, right? I think that should tell you where his mindset is every single day. It is awesome to watch his process.
Sorry. How's Longoria doing?
I haven't got any updates yet this morning, but I know the X-rays yesterday were negative. I said that post game as I was walking out. I'm not sure if you heard that, but I'll get a report here. The players are just getting to the ballpark right now, but I'll get a report out as soon as I can.
Zach.
Torey, back to Brandon. I'm wondering if you can put in perspective just how important he has been to what this club has accomplished and hopes to accomplish, because obviously your opening day rotation had 2 veterans in it that are no longer with the organization. He ends up pitching game 1. He's going to pitch a very important game tomorrow. Then if you guys move on, of course, you won't be able to lean on Merrill and Zach as much with the schedule for the CS. Just how important of a piece has Brandon been just to kind of get you guys to this point?
Yeah, to be able to slot him in the way we have and just assume that he's going to go out there and execute has been a great luxury for us. So if we get through this series, we're going to probably have a +1 into that group. And it's just nice to know that Brandon can execute, follow a game plan, and make pitches. I know it didn't go well in Milwaukee, but I think if he sequences better, the stuff is there, I think he should have a better result tomorrow. So how important has it been? It's been extremely important. I think you need more than 2 pitchers to get through the postseason. There are no throwaway games. You need every game to fall the way you hope that it does on your side. And Brandon Pfaadt has given us that opportunity down the stretch run here, and we won his postseason game as well. So he's been very important.
Did you get this many reporters in Bellarmine?
No, never. I don't even think I got one. So.
Okay, we'll get started with Brandon Pfaadt. First question for Brandon. We'll start with Zach.
You've been up and down a couple times this year. Just each time, in what ways did you come back a better pitcher?
I think both times, going down, coming back up, has been an adjustment. There was some adjustments made both times I went down, and coming back up, the results got better and better every time. So I think that just speaks volumes to the coaches down there and the development.
What were those adjustments?
One big adjustment was moving to the first base side of the rubber. just kind of helping those pitches tunnel better, some little stuff like that.
Yeah, fourth row on the right side.
Hey, Brandon. Torey said he was hoping that you might have a little better pitch mix in your second postseason outing. Just besides that, and including that, I guess, what did you learn from that outing in Milwaukee, and what do you hope to take from that?
Yeah, this is a good Dodgers lineup, so I think mixing is going to be the major key, especially early on. In Milwaukee, it was mainly fastball slider, and I think there's some adjustments that need to be made, and that's kind of been the learning point going forward, is being able to not show your strengths first time through and then adjust. So I think there's definitely something that a good game plan going forward into this game, and kind of build off what Merrill and Zach have done so far.
Steve down here on the left.
Yeah, what's up, Steve?
Just kind of building off what you're talking about there, you got to watch how Merrill and Zach approach the lineup. Does that help you at all when you get to see a team like that and see how those guys approach it and see what works, what doesn't work?
Yeah, I think it doesn't help me. It doesn't only help me, but it helps the whole team. Having this momentum going into the third game, 2-0, I think it's huge for not only the pitching but the hitting too. They've been lights out. So obviously, the hitters heating up helps the pitching and vice versa. So
on the left side.
Brandon, obviously, since you came back up in July, you've shown a lot of really good stuff, but probably the one thing that's bit you a couple times is the long ball, including in Milwaukee. What are some things that you think you can do tomorrow to kind of prevent that?
I think building upon just the pitch mix, pitch selection, being aggressive, getting ahead in counts will hopefully help limit that aspect.
Down in the front on the right.
Over here, Brandon. The impact that Brent Strom has had on you going back and forth, if you could talk about Stromy a little bit.
Yeah, he's been great. He knows what he's talking about. He knows how to communicate, how to connect with his players. He's been doing it for a while, so having him by our side has been huge, especially going up and down and having that guidance going forward. I think Strom's been amazing. He's always been on my side, and I'm grateful to have him.
Does he communicate with you when you were down? Was he communicating with you, or was it just simply when you were up here?
Yeah, when I was down too. I know on All-Star break he called me. It might have been 11 p.m. So I was like, what does he want? And then so we talked, and he's always there. He's always ready to talk no matter what. So he's been great.
Got it on the right side, second row.
It's going to be a sellout crowd tomorrow. How excited are you and your teammates for the atmosphere?
It's awesome. Anytime Chase sells out, that's good for everybody. So I think it's definitely something to look forward to, and it should be an awesome experience.
Hey, Brian, a little bit of an extended rest from that Milwaukee start. I guess, what has this week of preparation been like?
It's been pretty normal. Yeah, it's a little extended, but the way the pitching lined up was perfect. Having Merrill and Zach go the first two games, I think it's helped our team a lot, and it's just a little extended rest, a little change of routine. Arm feels great, so it's a win-win.
Come down here to Nick.
Just curious, what did Strom? Do you remember what Strom had for you that night when he called?
Yeah, it was moving to the first base side of the rubber, and he had like a whole diagram of every single pitch on every side of the plate. So it was funny.
And you were in Reno at the time?
No, I was in Kentucky for All-Star break.
Okay.
I flew home. I was sitting in my parents' house, and I was like, "Oh, call from Stromy. Let's see what he wants." So it was funny.
How long was the call?
Probably longer than it should have been.
Could you wrap your mind around all of it in the moment there when he was calling?
Yeah, I mean, it was just it was kind of reassuring. Going home for All-Star break, being in AAA, and he's saying, "Hey, we need you in big games in the postseason later on in the season." So that's kind of what the call was about too, and giving that reassurance. So it was good.
Zach.
What's the balance that you walk with your four seam? I know you've mixed in the sinker a little more, but you've been able to get some swings and misses on that four seam at different parts of the zone, but also it's a pitch that they can do some damage on when it's mislocated. How do you navigate with that pitch?
Yeah, I think that's any pitch. If it's mislocated, kind of just helping. I think the sinker helps the four seam helps the sinker, and kind of just mixing them and knowing when to use them and keeping them off balance with two fastballs is huge. Not for only those pitches, but also the off speed to come into play too.
Second row in the middle.
Brandon, golfers talk about the enormous pressure when they line up for a tee shot with the crowd all around to start a golf tournament. What's it like for a pitcher to go out on the mound? And how do you handle that pressure?
Yeah, I would say it's similar. I think I would be way more nervous lining up for a tee shot. I think it helps doing it, especially already pitching in the postseason. You kind of get that under your belt. So I think for any time, the first time, it's a little almost overwhelming. But getting that under my belt and being able to know what it's like, and it's a good thing. I think something to look forward to.
Chris on the left side.
I know he's a little bit older, Brandon, but how well do you know Will Smith, a guy who's also from Louisville, played collegiately at Louisville? Did you know him at all kind of going into this year, let alone this postseason?
Yeah, I knew him when I got drafted, that first offseason. We trained together for a month or two. Before that, I didn't know him. I knew of him, of course, but we got to know each other a little bit until he moved back out to LA. So just a little bit, like, if I were to see him, we would say what's up, but nothing crazy.
Any last ones for Brandon? Right side on third row.
Brandon, when Strom says to you in that phone call, we're going to need you in big spots in the postseason, was that difficult for you to imagine in that moment, or did you believe that would be the case?
No, I believed him, and I had confidence in myself to get back up as soon as possible and help the D-backs win big games, because we knew it would come down to a few games in the end, and I think that's shown, and hopefully we can help them get one more win and get to the CS.